Hi everybody, welcome to my channel if you're new here. If you're not new here, welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Noelle. I'm 19 years old and I'm signed with Wilhelmina Models in Los Angeles and Miami. And I'm also represented by a separate mother agency as well as a separate talent agency. I just like to come on here and share with you guys everything that I've learned and I'm still continuing to learn as I progress throughout my modeling career. And I just like to share it in hopes of helping people that are looking to get into modeling or want to learn more about it. I know that it can be so confusing and so hard when you're starting to get into it and when you're just starting out. So I want to share everything that I know that I could possibly share to help other people that are in the same boat that I was in the very beginning, that have no idea what to do or where to get started or how to get started or what to do. So hopefully my videos can help you, especially this one. Without further ado, we're gonna get into today's video. Today I'm gonna be talking about 10 different tips I would give to beginner or new models. Essentially, I'm just going to be sharing everything that I wish I knew in the beginning when I was starting out, and things that you should know before you get started, and just good advice to hear and tips to keep in mind. I'm going to be sharing 10 separate tips that I thought about. If you're just starting out and you're super confused and this is all very overwhelming, because it can be, you've come to the right place. I have all the advice for you and I hope I can answer all of your questions. So anyways, let's get into this week's video. I'm also drinking a Diet Coke if I'm acting a little crazy and talking really fast. That tends to happen with this, but I need some caffeine in my life, so cheers. Okay, let's get started. Also keep in mind that these are in no particular order. These are just randomly ordered facts that I think are important. Okay. Now let's actually get started because this is enough. The first tip I have for you is to be really firm on your boundaries. When it comes to like shooting lingerie and certain things, there's a way to do it tastefully, and then there's a way that some photographers will make it look like just nudity. Some photographers will have other intentions or kind of make it look maybe a bit too sexy, and you might not be comfortable with that yet. So I think it's just important to be really firm on your boundaries and make sure that you know what you're comfortable with and nobody can convince you out of those boundaries. Whatever it is, just be firm on what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with, and stay true to that throughout your career, because you don't want to get stuck in a situation being uncomfortable because you're not covered enough. You don't want to feel uncomfortable, and if you're uncomfortable during a shoot, it will show in the photos. Like, there are so many times where I'll see photos that a girl got with a photographer and you can tell just in her eyes that she's uncomfortable. It's just really important overall. Have boundaries, stick to them. This is very important when you're doing test shoots with photographers, which is essentially where you'll meet up with the photographer and it's just you and them. Sometimes it could even be just you and the photographer in their apartment or in their house, or sometimes just you two alone at a studio, and a lot of things can happen that you don't want to happen. So just be careful, make sure you have firm boundaries, and overall just be careful. The second tip I have for you is to sign with a mother agency first. I cannot emphasize this enough. I signed with my first agency when I was 15 and they were a mother agency. I'm actually still represented by them today. We've been together for years and I absolutely love the relationship that we still have. I wouldn't trade signing with them for the world. If you don't know what a mother agency is, basically it's exactly how it sounds. A mother agency is a regular modeling agency, but they just help you like kind of build your book, help you learn the ropes of modeling. They know that you're new, so they essentially prep you for all that, get your book going, they get you experience, they might book you jobs, they just help you get out there and get established. I feel like I would have been so confused in the beginning had I not signed with a mother agency, and I would have been like confused about like where I start or what castings are like I wouldn't know anything. So I feel like mother agencies are the best place to start. The next tip I have for beginner models is to just be eager and willing to learn. I know this sounds like maybe a given thing or obvious, but I really took the time to, number one, research outside of when I was working. I would research like tips and things to know. I'd watch the same videos that you're watching of me right now, of other girls talking about the same thing. And I feel like that really helped prepare me for what I was walking into. But I'm also talking about like when you meet other models and other girls and you're around other models, sit and get to know them. Like talk about jobs that you want to book that maybe they've booked and they can tell you how it was, or ask them about what agency they've been with that's gotten them the most work. You can learn something from every single person. So the more that you put yourself out there and are nice to other models and ask them things and try to learn from them and pick their brain a bit, you're gonna learn so much quicker. So I feel like if you're ever in a situation where you're around another model, just ask them like, hey, I'm newer, I'm just curious, how does this work? How'd you like working for this brand? You know, what was this shoot like? Like, just kind of pick their brain. And I mean, obviously everyone's gonna receive that differently, but I feel like for the most part, I mean, at least when I would talk to girls in the beginning, everyone was super nice and like ready to help and wanted to give me advice. Recently, I booked a job and I was on set with this one girl for 2 days. It was a 2-day modeling job, and we just had a conversation about like different brands that we've worked for and what it was like and what the shoot day was like. And she had worked for a lot of my dream companies, so I was asking her like, how was it working for this brand? What was it like on this day? How'd they treat you? Was the day fun? Like, I'll ask them different questions about that experience, and I feel like just from even talking to her, I learned so much and I know what to be prepared for in the future, because I'm still crossing off dream clients on my list and I'm still striving for all those goals. So it's just good to hear like a little heads up or to hear someone else's experience with a certain brand or just get that insider advice. The next tip is to learn your body as much as you can and practice posing as much as you possibly can. I feel like I mentioned this in every video, but I really just want to emphasize it to you guys because I can't even explain how important it is to understand your body and to understand your unique shape and your figure and what poses look good, what poses don't look good. Every model has their own individual look and their own individual style and way of posing, and certain poses look different on everyone. So it's really just all about your unique body and your unique look and what looks the best on you. I feel like this is so important because if you don't know how to pose and you're booked for a modeling job, you're gonna get to set and you're gonna be in your outfit and have no idea what the heck to do, and they're gonna expect you to know exactly what to do. When brands book you for a job and you come to set, they expect you to show up perfectly trained, knowing exactly what to do because you're coming from an agency, so they're under that impression and you don't want to fall short of that in person. Also remember that it is a reflection of your agency, so if you're not really knowing how to pose, you're not sure what to do, you're just kind of standing there, they're gonna know, okay, this girl's from this agency, she's not very trained, she doesn't seem like she has any experience, and they might not ask for you back. So not saying it's going to get to that point every single time, but I would just say really work on posing. I still practice posing all the time. I'm still learning my angles all the time, and the more modeling jobs that I'm booking and the photos that I'm getting back and the more test shoots I'm doing, I'm seeing what looks good and what poses work for me versus what isn't so flattering and what doesn't look good. So I just emphasize that all the time because it's so important. Literally stand in front of your mirror and pose and put music on and just see what looks good and what angle makes you feel the most confident and what photographs the best. The next tip I have for you is very important. It is to work on your book as much as you possibly can. If you're newer to modeling, a modeling book is basically like your portfolio. So it's showing like some of your past work you've done. If you don't have experience yet, you'll do a lot of test shoots. So test shoots, like I said before, are basically where you'll go with a photographer and just shoot a bunch of different looks. And then you'll add those photos to your book, and then those photos in your book are like showing you in different looks, like you in a sporty outfit, you with glam makeup, you with a natural face. Like, it's kind of just a range of different looks, and then the client can then view those photos and look at your book and think, oh, this girl looks really good in all these different looks, or oh, this girl has a lot of experience, I want to book her for my upcoming campaign. And essentially, the better book you have, the better chances you have at getting booked for actual modeling jobs. So work on your book as much as you can. If you're a beginning model and are not signed yet, I would just say do as many shoots as you possibly can with photographers. I will say be very careful if you're shooting with just one photographer, because you just don't know everyone's intentions, and especially if it's just you alone with the photographer and there's no agency involved, bad things can happen. So just be very careful when it's just you and a photographer alone. Personally, I would look on other models' accounts and see what photos of theirs that you like, and then look and see who the photographer is if it was a test shoot, and then you can reach out to that photographer and ask if they want to set up a test shoot. And you can even ask the girls that have shot with those photographers and see like what their experience was like. Was the photographer cool? Was he weird? Did he give off creepy vibes? Like, you can ask all those questions beforehand before you're in like a bad, uncomfortable situation. So anyways, I just think doing as many test shoots as possible in the beginning is very important. I still do test shoots all the time. My agency actually books them for me, but I do test shoots all the time, and As a model, you're constantly updating your book, you're constantly improving it. Obviously, the more experience you get and the more jobs you book, those photos will be added to your portfolio as well. So it'll all kind of come together to just showcase you as a model. Who are you? What do you look like in these clothes? Or what do you look like in an athletic outfit? What do you look like in a formal gown? Like, it just showcases every side of you as a model. And it's just very important because you want clients to be impressed when they see your book, and you want them to want to book you based on your book. So put a lot of work and time into it because it will always pay off. The next tip I have for you is just keeping it so real, but prepare to be intimidated. A lot of things in the modeling industry are very intimidating. A lot of experiences are intimidating. A lot of people you meet can be intimidating. A lot of events and castings and things can just feel very intimidating because they can be high stakes depending on what it is. I would just prepare yourself to feel a little uncomfortable and to be intimidated, but I would also encourage you to welcome that feeling and be eager to learn rather than being nervous. But I'm not gonna lie, it will be intimidating. But I also think it's about the attitude that you bring to the table and the confidence you walk in with. So if you go into things being super nervous and not wanting to talk to anyone and like being overwhelmed and overly intimidated, like, you're not gonna get anywhere. But I think if you just go into it with an open mind, you know, you keep in mind that you're walking into an intimidating situation that might be uncomfortable, but you're open to like talking to people and learning, you'll be good to go. But yeah, just keeping it real, like, it will be intimidating at times, but I think it's the best way to learn when you're uncomfortable. So I would just encourage you to welcome that feeling in and to not be too anxious. The next tip I have for you is to just be confident and remember why you got signed in the first place. So this is important to remember when you're in those intimidating, uncomfortable situations that I was just talking about. When you feel yourself getting a little anxious and maybe your fears or anxiety gets the best of you in those situations, try to think of, okay, why am I here? Like, there's a reason that I'm here. My agency sent me here, or, you know, this agent showed interest in me, so I should be at this casting, I should be here, I should be at this open call. Like, think back to why you're there. And even if nobody has noticed you yet and you want it for yourself, think about, okay, I'm here because I want this for myself so bad that I'm gonna keep showing up, and my own unique look makes me stand out and makes me special and makes me worthy of this opportunity or this casting or this open call. Like, but yeah, I'm not only talking about confidence, but I just think, like, remember why you're in a certain situation. If you feel uncomfortable, remember that you're there for a reason. There's just as much room for you there as there is for everyone else. And also, it's like, you are just as important as all the other girls there. You are just as worthy. You rightfully have a place the same way they do. So just try not to forget that. I know it can be hard in the moment, whether it's like a big casting or some girls go to open calls. I know those can be super intimidating, but try to remember that you have your own unique look and the model next to you doesn't look like you. So you guys both have your own unique thing going. So just try to hold on to that when you feel a little anxious. The next tip I have for you is to network, build relationships, and never burn bridges. Those are like the 3 things I live by in this industry. It is actually such a surprisingly small industry. I've crossed paths with so many of the same people so many different times. It actually is like comical at this point. I feel like you're always, you know, running back into each other even months or years later after something. So whoever you meet in this industry, whether it's a photographer on a job or a photographer you test shot with, an agent, somebody working for an agency that you no longer are with, keep a good relationship with everybody because you never know what happens. People move from agencies all the time. Agents will kind of hop around to different agencies. Some like keep the same teams for a long time. Others are always moving and constantly switching jobs and working for different agencies. So I would just say whoever you meet, always be nice, always be respectful, make an effort to talk to everyone, but most importantly, never burn bridges, because keeping those good relationships and networking is only going to help you. There have been so many times where I've been shocked by how many times I've run into the same people. Let's say, for example, you do a test shoot with a photographer and it's just you and him. You guys get great photos back, whatever, you guys stay in contact, follow each other on social media, and then a couple months down the line, let's say his friend owns this clothing brand and he gets to pick girls that he thinks would look great in the campaign for it or great in the shoot for it. Whoever he likes is gonna come to mind first. So if you guys had a good experience together, you were respectful, you guys had fun, he might recommend you to his friend who owns the business or owns the clothing company or whatever it is, and then boom, you just booked a job through him. I mean, that's just one example, but this happens all the time where you're crossing paths with the same people so many different times in so many different ways. So keep those good relationships, never end things on a bad note. One example from my personal life of this happening, just because I think it's funny, is I used to be signed with a different agency in LA like a couple years ago, and then I ended up switching over to Wilhelmina, and the agency director at the first agency in LA that I was with ended up moving to now work for Wilhelmina. So now we work together again, which is so funny, and that's just one example of it. There's so many examples of networking and keeping good relationships working in your favor, but yeah, just be respectful and nice and make sure to be friendly to everyone because it's always going to help you. The next tip I have is to do iPhone shoots. So this is for my very newcomers into the industry. If you're interested in modeling and you know that you want to do it and it's something that you want to pursue, but you're not sure how you shoot, or you're not sure how comfortable you're going to be in front of a camera, or the idea of any type of photo shoot gives you anxiety, first of all, those are normal feelings, so those are all valid. You shouldn't feel like weird for feeling that way if you do, but a good way to get out of that headspace is to literally go with your friend or your mom or someone that has an iPhone or a digital camera, any type of camera, and just have them shoot you and just see how you do, see how you pose, see what, again, angles look the best on you, what is flattering, and just really try to pinpoint what poses make you feel the most confident, what angles look the best on you, and work on building up that comfortability level in front of the camera, because when an agency decides to sign you, they're going to take some photos of you before they sign you and just kind of see how you move in front of the camera, as well as seeing, you know, what the photos look like and everything, but they're gonna want to see how you pose and how you are in front of the camera. So I think practicing as much as you possibly can between actual test shoots with photographers and even just using your phone and posing in front of a mirror or having your friend take photos of you, like literally do everything you can to build up that comfortability level, because it will be tested and you don't want to be in a situation where you're uncomfortable and don't know what to do. The 10th and final piece of advice that I have for you is to make sure to always remember that rejection is never personal. And I feel like this is also something I talk about quite often in my videos, but again, it's because I want to emphasize to you that it really isn't about you. Like if you don't book a job or you don't get picked for a casting, or if your dream agency rejects you, it is not about you. It has to do with the best interest of business. Like a modeling agency is a business. They want to pick girls that they know they have work for. So even if you're stunning and gorgeous, they might think, well, this girl's pretty, but we don't have jobs that are suitable for her. Like our clients wouldn't pick her because they go for more of this type of look, or you know, whatever it is. There's so many different reasons why rejection happens, which is what I've learned the longer that I've modeled. Don't think that if you're rejected right away, whether it's from an agency or a brand didn't choose you for something or you didn't book a job, don't think that it has to do with them just not liking your look or not thinking you're good enough. There are so many other reasons for rejection, and I would just overall say to get comfortable with the idea of rejection, get comfortable with how it feels and what it's like, because it's the reality of this business, and it doesn't mean that you suck. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It doesn't mean that you're not pretty enough. There are so many other reasons for it, and it's going to happen inevitably. It's just about accepting the reality of it and not letting it destroy your confidence, and remember that it's all just a business, and if you're rejected, it doesn't have to do with you being a terrible model or you not being good enough. It just has to do with the best interest of a certain brand or of an agency. It's all business, so don't take it personally. Alright you guys, I think that brings us to the end of this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed everything that I had to say and maybe got some of your questions answered. I hope. I love helping you guys so much, and I always like to see your guys' support and comments and sweet things that you say. It makes me feel so glad to be doing this and so grateful for all of you. So thank you so much for your support. Like I always say, if you guys still have questions after watching my videos, be sure to shoot me a DM on Instagram, or you can leave them in the comments below. I'm also always open to new video ideas and new suggestions you have, so if there's something that you're looking to see on my channel that you haven't seen yet, let me know, leave me a video suggestion and I can get around to it. But anyways, all of my other social media will be linked in my description. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye.